GTII making some very important closures on the 3-day and 5-day timeframes. Let's go ahead and validate what could be happening for the following sessions. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical thread of analysis on this happy Thursday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, we are looking at GTII on the 4-hour chart. First of all, okay, guys, let's just go ahead and take a gander at our shorter time frames before we get into the statistical side on the larger time frames. Okay, so yeah, so we're looking at the drop that we were actually looking for yesterday. It did definitely happen, but it actually surpassed the target by just a little bit, right? So it came down to 170 opposed from the area that we were looking at about 177, right? So not a problem whatsoever. The important thing here is that we actually did get both of these 4-hour candle closures above the 1.618, which is at $1.74. And of course, yet again, we're still coming back to use this bottom support line as a bounce zone. Okay, so it's entirely okay if we continue even onto the downside here to about $1.70 or $1.69. It's still entirely okay for us to come and do that and then bounce to the upside from here. And the reason why I'm telling you that that it could be a bounce to the upside from that area is for the following reasons. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you this first. All right, so we did get the 5-day candle closure, this one right over here. Okay, so very important for us to get this closure in the green, which essentially manipulated, or I'm sorry, influenced, better said, the stochastic momentum oscillator to the upside even still. And we further contracted in the volatility component, or the volatility measurement here, which is represented by the BBWP indicator. All right, so this is absolutely bullish. And what is this telling us exactly? Well, let me just go ahead and show you how far of a backtest I have done on the 5-day iteration, and then we'll go over the 3-day iterations as well. Okay, so yeah, so over the last oh wow, so yeah, about 7 years of backtest, I've definitely performed yeah, about 2,837 days of a backtest here. So the backtest is of this criteria. Anytime that volatility has expanded into critical expansion, which is beyond or within the 90 percentile, and started a contraction phase paired with stochastic momentum towards the upside pivot, we've actually gotten a total of 9 iterations, of which 8 were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of about 88.89%. with an average upside thrust of 183.05%, with an average duration of about 25.75 days. This is the proof of work here. Okay, so the signal of this actually fired quite some time ago, but I want to just be able to show you that the signal still has about 23.57% left over from the firing of the signal, right? So this is very important because the target would essentially take us to about $3.76 or $3.74 right about there. Okay, and the conditions are reset. They're not failed, right? So we're still continuing that ascent. We're now approaching the bullish control zone, and we're still contracting. So in the 5-day time frame, we are at the mean. This already has performed a mean reversion. Okay, so we are at about a fair value right now, but that's not to say that, of course, there's still the the nakeds and the synthetics shares and all that stuff in the crooked, all that good stuff. Of course, is just on the 5-day time frame medium, right? So there's a medium, or there's a mean per every time frame, all the way up to the 3-month and beyond, right? So in fact, I'm developing an indicator that actually tells you what the mean is. All right, so now let's go ahead and reference the 3-day volatility versus momentum backtest. Same conditions from critical expansion into contraction with an upside pivot, or paired with stochastic momentum, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that we did get the 3-day closure as well, and we absolutely pushed to the upside a little further within the stochastic momentum. So this is very, very, very good for us, okay? We also continued that contraction phase right here. So essentially this statistical backtest is on even still, okay? So we did drop, pardon me, by the way, let me just go ahead and clear my throat a little. All right, so we were touching on this regression line that we drew from this pivot to this pivot when we were, right up here somewhere. So we said that very likely we would actually find support touch and a reversion right from this trend line regression. Okay, so this is a very good thing that it did absolutely follow that regression line, and we're still continuing on the upside. Okay, now for that criteria, anytime that we have, of course, again, anytime that we have expanded into critical volatility and started contracting to the downside paired with stochastic momentum with an upside pivot, I have taken note of that that iteration's duration, the upside thrust, and the amount of times that volatility versus momentum have guessed the upside correctly versus incorrectly. Okay, so, and in the 3-day chart, I did perform a backtest throughout the entire trading history of the GTII asset, dating back to the first iteration, which was in June 6, 1995. Okay, so this one did get that full backtest. And these are the metrics that came back. Okay, every sample, right? These are all the samples if you're familiar with statistics. So now the data set that came back is actually a total of 31 iterations throughout the entire trading history on the 3-day, remember. Okay, so now out of those 31, 21 iterations were guessed correctly to the upside, giving us an averaged upside accuracy of 67.74%. with an average upside thrust of about 971.33% over the span of about 22 and a half days. All right, so what we're looking at here is pretty much the validation that that statistical backtest is still on. Okay, so just know that the statistical mean is telling us that we would essentially reach about $10.26 around there, which just so happens to be very confluent with the top side of our macro ascending channel, the one that we've been riding for quite some time. Let me just zoom out so you can see this very one here. Okay, so and not only that, it also shares confluence with the 4-spot 618 located at about $10.06. So a lot of targets suggesting $10. Okay, of course, we're looking at the 3-day time frame and the 5-day time frame. So these are very likely to take weeks to play out, right? But go ahead and notice here that from this candle here to this candle, let's just measure that so you can get an idea, okay? So go ahead and notice that this is a 43-day distance from here to this point, okay? From this point to this point. All right, so if you were to measure, say, for example, another 43 days from the current, from the current candle that we're on that we just started, then it would actually take you to about April 26th. I'm not saying that by April 26th we're going to reach the top. I'm just giving you an idea as to how the 3-day time frame moves, okay? Because we just got the closure of the candle. In fact, it's going to start tomorrow, and then we're really going to see how far it affected the stochastic momentum. But so far, it's looking very good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and reference something very important that I wanted to talk to you about, okay, as I did make a quick little a macro scale idea here for us, okay? So what you are looking at here is the weekly time frame of GTII and the current price action where we faced that resistance and we're facing support. You are looking at an area where we have faced resistance for about 742 days. Okay, since, let's see, this is the first iteration here where it faced that resistance on that line. So you're looking at March 1st, 2021. Okay, so this is a very long standing area of resistance. Okay, so you can see it just with your own eyes. We used it as support here, support there, right? But then we failed it. Resistance. Resistance here. We failed it again. Resistance, all kinds of resistance here. Okay, you guys. And even recently, we've been starting knocking at the door at this place. What I like right now is that we're still currently above. We're currently above that resistance zone. It's a very important thing that we are above that because we're about to get a macro shift. Okay, so this is the weekly time frame, and we have 18 hours and 38 minutes to make this candle closure. I would really prefer this candle closure to not close in this manner, but seeing that the 3-day and 5-day iterations, right? The 3-day and 5-day back tests are already suggesting the upside and validated the upside. We may very well correct this candle to not appear as a shooting star, which would usually suggest a downside. This is very, very important because I can see that the shorter time frames would essentially influence the higher term time frame for an upside continuation. Another thing, look at volatility versus momentum. This is absolutely bullish, okay? So we want to make sure, we absolutely want to make sure that we continue momentum to the upside, okay? So the last weekly candle that we printed, which was this one here, left us with the upper hand here. It left us with the bulls in control. Okay, contraction phase with an upside pivot. This is very bullish. Okay, so I'm thinking that by maybe tomorrow or the next day when the bulls actually jump in, because we actually have that statistical target now locked. So this is it's essentially like kind of like a pilot, right? You guys seen Top Gun? Kind of when you're on that fighter jet and you're trying to lock in the target, right? You're trying to lock in that target, and then finally you get it and it just goes beep 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 beep. So you have that red circle around your target. So kind of like that. That's essentially when I'm comparing the target that we just got via the closure of the 5-day and the 3-day. Okay, so this, I mean, based on those upsides from the 3-day and the 5-day, very likely we can influence the weekly time frame for an upside pivot, and this would essentially continue on that upside pivot as well as a continuation to the contraction. Okay, so we're very close to the mean on the weekly time frame, meaning that it's still not at that mean yet. That mean could very well be located at around $2.15 for the weekly time frame. Okay, so this is very good, very, very awesome for the GTII asset. Let's move on to the last part of the analysis, as this video is getting a little long, and try to move it along as fast as we can. So go ahead and notice here that the 30-minute immediate short term is suggesting some consolidation. We do have the support from the gravitational zone of the bear strength percentile and the 14-day simple moving average. So this is still pretty good. Okay, so we're getting an upside pivot from both the 4-hour, the 8-hour, and now we're getting a support potential here on the daily. Okay, so that support is why I'm telling you that we may very well see a touch again of the one spot 618 at 174, and or a touch down to our trend line down here at about 168 before a massive bounce. Okay, so this is looking pretty good for GTII. Okay, notice that the 3-day and the 5-day are also suggesting really close supports very, very soon. Okay, so I'm definitely thinking that the space between the RSI and the 14-day simple moving average on the 3-day is very much confluent to that target that we're talking about. Between the space of 174 to about 169. Okay, so please remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay? I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be just fine. Please go ahead and refer to the links in the description below if you would like to join the ARCa Bulls trading community and or visit me in Twitter. Okay, you guys, but with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.